my wife decides to act like Jada, then I'm going to treat her like the way Chris Brown treated Rihanna. So I'm like, okay, that sounds like incitement of violence to me. When I see that, I'm triggered.
There was then a place where I was with some people who were like, but wait, nah, hey, even Miss Mena Trash, you are surrounded by us now, what you gonna do?
We're continuously seeing stories of women that have been killed, women that have been abused, and we see stories of women who speak up, but when they speak up, people don't believe them or they're trying to be silenced.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, why are you threatening me? Why are you threatening me? What does this actually mean,
While the internet has provided with it opportunity and freedom for self-expression and speaking out, it's also brought about invasion of privacy, dangers on safety, physical and sexual harassment, cyberbullying, and more.
Targeted harassment against someone because of their gender, because that's what gender-based violence is. It's violence because of somebody's gender, sexual orientation.
Just being ostracized for your activism, being targeted as an activist.
How best can I put bullying of women? Let's say sending around pictures of women without their consent.
What happens when somebody attacks somebody specifically because of their gender? And it could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be a transgender person, but it's really about attacking somebody for something that they genuinely can't control, which is as complex as gender.
So I'm fat, I'm black, I've got a big gap in between my teeth, I'm a single mother, so things like that always come up. And you're like, how? I don't know why me being fat and ugly gets into,
What I'm wearing right now, people are just going to start throwing shade. Like, oh yeah, you're rocking shorts, you're rocking a crop top, would you want to see your thighs, whatnot. And I feel like we all have the right to post and wear whatever we want, but then because I'm a woman, people are just going to use it against me.
What I need people to understand is that the internet is its own ecosystem. Like, it has structures, it has systems, it has personalities. So knowing that, you understand that it's actually a place where violence can take place. It's a world of its own where things can happen. Just the way when you're walking on the street, you can be assaulted. You can be minding your own business on the internet and you get an unsolicited dick pic.
In my personal experience, I have found a lot of men are really comfortable telling me how to feel and telling me how to express myself. She logged into my Facebook account and sent him a bunch of very, very scary messages talking about how I wanted to commit self-harm over this guy that I barely knew.
What happened was they would take those pictures and, when it comes to bullying, they'll find a way to get those and they'll send them to people. So that really affected me in the sense that it really reduced my self-esteem and it made me less comfortable or less open to people, because you'd receive different kind of comments from people, and those comments are not positive. Most of them are not positive.
Someone said that if I was going to tell my story, that they would come and beat me up. I've had people call me a liar that I was doing. When I decided to share my story about abuse, I had a whole lot of people coming for me. At that time, I also had people trying to get into my account. I had people saying that I need to delete my posts.
Things that I've experienced and things some of my friends have experienced would be unsolicited sexual pictures, threats of violence, especially when you put up a post speaking on experiences of rape, sometimes even just a picture, you get threats of violence when you speak on feminicide. These are from my experience because those are the things I talk the most about. Persistent messaging, because I would say that's the same as somebody consistently coming to you and you're like, please leave me alone, and they don't get out of your space, because the internet space is your space, right? Stalking, sharing pictures and videos without someone's consent, pedophilia, sharing children's pictures and videos, bullying, especially for younger people in high school, smear campaigns against people of the LGBT community, women, Black women, minorities, and also sharing pictures of sexual assault, pictures and videos of sexual assault.
While the biggest platforms continue to be called out on privacy concerns, is enough being done on online gender-based violence? The main conversation has been around access to the internet, being able to be online rather than safety, shifting the narrative through technology use rather than will I be safe on this platform.
I'm not interested in someone telling me how I hope you're raped one day. Those are things I've been told. When I was speaking on a femicide issue once, where there was a girl that was hacked outside her university by a man she had been rejecting here in Kenya. And the men decided that they were going to print t-shirts now with a panga. Like in the war movies, those big knives that they show in Africa, yes, like that. They started making shirts with them, to ridicule the femicide issue.
In this particular group, there was a get together, and as soon as I was identified as, Anelile, the feminist, definitely people were approaching me differently, especially men. They're like, there's a sexual one, do you want my dick, or just very intrusive things, or like, you're taller than I thought, you must really have you really need a big dick. I think the one guy was like, but in Zulu, it's you're so tall, you definitely need a big dick. I'm like, I'm just here having a good time. Can you please leave my vagina alone?
Because now when you're getting a notification on your phone, you don't want to look. I felt like I didn't want to look, because it's is it going to be something positive? Is it someone else that's coming for me? It just felt like I just need to take a break. It was too much for me. I felt very overwhelmed.
Escalated in that manner would be the blackmail, where my pictures were being used, just because when we didn't respond to them, they started to distribute it to other people. So then now those people would come to us and be like, oh, did you really do this? Are those messages true? Is that your picture?
I think the biggest safety tool I have is to stay at home. I'm staying at home a lot.
You should be doing, if you're experiencing online gender violence, whether it's from a single tweet or a stack of harassing tweets that come in over time, is keep a record. Keep a record of when you got them, and that means take a screen grab. Don't just copy and paste it, but take a photo on your computer of what happened, and keep it in a threat file. And then when it escalates, because inevitably it almost always does escalate, when it's time to go to the police, you have a digital record of when and where things have happened, so that you can hand that off to them and they can use it to investigate. But number one, always make sure you keep a record of the violence.
I need tools when I go out of those sort of safe spaces. So things like I have pepper spray that is on my car key. I've been wanting to get a taser, but I'm so clumsy that I'm scared I'm gonna shock myself. I've taken an online defense class, taken it, and I always have condoms, in case that I am being raped, that if I can negotiate protection, that I always have it. Because sometimes, you never know who's going to rape you. Sometimes you think you're safe. You're at a friend's bride, and someone forces themselves on you, and you find yourself not close enough to your pepper spray, or whatever. That if you're going to be raped, hey guy, please at least can we just use protection, because that's literally the state that we are in now. So yeah, definitely pepper spray. I have a is it okap? It's an okap. It's like a pocket knife that I have in my cubby hole in my car. I've never had to use that. There's things like rope, like my oaks. Like I particularly buy like a long oaks. I don't know why. I just always feel like if I've got rope, I can like strangle someone, or like, I don't know, in the fight. And because a lot of cases happen so intimately, they're not even that violent, or that's you have all these things and you've prepared for, but when it reaches you, it's close by, you are unsuspecting. But in any case, get just for like being robbed, when I'm going to China Mall downtown, and my pepper spray, and I put my stuff in my boots, I put my phone in my boobs, if I can take my phone, I just have all my little, like a fanny pack full of all my things, so that if I need to run, I just run. But it's so I've stopped clubbing altogether. I've stopped so many things because I'm just so scared, and I think that's the number one tool that I have. But we keep trying, keep negotiating, but the condoms for me are something that I make sure that I always have in my bag.
I'm not gonna lie, I was very depressed. I was going through a lot and I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't sleep at night, to be more specific. I was now on antidepressants. I was now on sleeping pills.
I don't think the platforms are doing enough or do anything. I mean, if you're placing child pornography, for example, and you report it, it just blocks it from you seeing it, but it's still out there.
In the mirror and ask yourself if you like what you see. A friend of mine said that to me once, and it's always resonated with me, largely because we are living in a world where we act and behave like our behavior doesn't have consequences on those around us. And when you are existing in a cycle of toxic masculinity and gender-based violence, you're perpetuating a stereotype that has real-life consequences for those who are forced to deal with your behavior.
You need to stand your ground and you need to speak up about it. Don't keep quiet about the things that are happening online, the messages people will send you, or the threats that you're getting. You need to let someone know, or let people know that this is what is happening. Some of these online threats definitely manifest into a physical something. Something can definitely happen to someone, and you need to let people know.
Can you please leave my vagina alone? Woo! A safe online space. Oh my goodness, a space of literature, of encouragement, of information, a safe of sex, talking about sex, talking about pleasure, talking about where you can display your body, where you're not fat shamed, where you are not ridiculed. Oh my word, that'd be so great.
You know what? On the internet, that's where you get your message out. That's where everyone is. And if it's run by feminists, then you know what? We can get a chance to actually have an effect on the physical world as well. So I feel like that would be great. There wouldn't be any online harassment. I would definitely love that.
It definitely would be a lot more women speaking out. Women would not be harassed the way that they are. People would not feel comfortable attacking women or coming for women or harassing women online. They would definitely not feel as comfortable as they do now.
where people could exchange ideas freely, a place where people can express themselves in ways they can't do in the offline world. I don't think a feminist internet would be much different than it is now, because we all have very different ideas of what feminism is. So when we talk about feminism, we have to break down, what does that mean? Does it mean freedom for all women of every color and race? Does it mean trans women? Does it mean Black trans women? Or does it mean the typical white feminist? And who decides what that looks like?
One of the greatest ideas ever, because that will be a platform for women to actually understand themselves and stand for themselves, and to advocate for others who cannot, to teach, to educate, to be brokers.
That gives me so much joy to think about. First of all, it would be a space for women, about women, with only women. That's what I would say would be the best version of a feminist internet. Why? Because that's what feminism is. It's for women. That's where we get to share experiences. That's where we get to fight for our rights. You know, it's about us. And when I interact with feminists on the internet, everyone is, most of the time, is very supportive of each other. Like, we stand up for each other. Like, someone from Angola is fighting for someone in South Africa. You know, people are really there doing their thing for anyone. Like, we have each other's backs. Where it becomes toxic is now when you have, unfortunately, the women with internalized misogyny, and the misogyny is coming for you. That's where the threats start. But usually I've never received a threat from a woman telling me that she's going to hack me to death. So a feminist internet would be one with just women and just feminists.
Jack Dorsey of Twitter and say, dude, let's have a chat about your user agreement, I think I would say it's time to start catering a little bit more towards women. Women face harassment at 10 times the normal rate that men online face harassment. 10 times. That's ridiculous. That means that every woman on earth who is online is at risk of being harassed purely because they are women. And they could be trans women, they could be Black women, Latinx women, they could be white women, but they still get harassed 10 times more than men.